Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. I thought over the next few minutes of this video I'd spend a bit of time talking to you about the thinking and planning that we have in place for 2022. I know there are some rumours getting around, so this is an opportunity for us to address some of those. If we consider the moral purpose, understanding the why we are here at school, we believe that through quality curriculum planning, contemporary pedagogy, and inspiring environments, we're striving to support students to be the literate, numerate, critical thinkers and independent learners. All of our decision making is evidence based and it's intentional. We're not doing anything just because we think it's a good idea, but we have research behind that. When we consider what our class structures and will be for the following year, there's quite a bit that goes into that rather than just what we think might be a good idea. We need to consider the student-centred funding model and our staffing entitlement based on the numbers of students we have in ARTA 2 and the numbers we have in next year, 3 to 6, because of course we're losing the Year 7s. Our staffing entitlement is based on those numbers. As an example, this year we had a entitlement of having 22 classes, but we've actually got 25, meaning we're paying for 3 extra classes. Next year we will no longer be considered a large primary school because we will be below 600 in our total enrolments. That has financial implications for us, and we lose roughly around $200,000 by no longer being over the 600 threshold, which again has significant repercussions for us here at the school. We need to consider our leadership structures and what they look like and the number of leaders we have and the types of roles they take on. We need to develop viable financial plans for replacement of furniture, digital technology devices and infrastructure, facilities upgrades, improvements to teaching spaces, quality evidence-based professional learning for staff. We don't get funded on those things. We need to build that and factor that into how we spend our money at school. At this stage, some of those things are not having the money spent on them that is required to maintain and improve. We also have some observations and evidence from our external school review process. The report for that process arrived yesterday. It's not yet a public document, and I will go through it with staff early term 2, table it with Governing Council, and then it will be available on our website. But there are certainly some elements in there that indicate what we need to do moving forward. In terms of how we made the decisions that we have made at this stage, we had a consultation process or a number of processes that involved our senior HR consultant, Lubinka Gillett, who advises us on our staffing ratio and how many classes we're entitled to based on the enrolment of students we have. Tammy and myself met with Lubinka and talked through that process. We also met with the senior finance consultant, Rosalie Don't, who works in head office. Sonia and I met with her for a number of hours, going through our budget, our projections, what we can afford, what we can't afford, and the implications that then has for classing structures. I've spoken with our local education team, including the Education Director, Vonnie Doling, to ensure that all the decisions we're making are on track with what we should be doing. Governing Council and Finance Committees, we've had conversations with them. The Leadership Group, I've spoken with them and they've supported putting some plans in place. And through our Personnel Advisory Committee, I have spoken with the staff and listened to the staff's feedback on that as well. In terms of moving forward, potentially and possibly, I think we're talking most likely at this stage, we'll have the following class structures for 2022 and potentially beyond that. We'll have reception classes. We don't know how many yet, but we know we'll have reception classes. We will then have combination Year 1-2 classes. We will have combination Year 3-4 classes, and we will have combination Year 5-6 classes. Now, I know that is potentially something quite different to what people have experienced here in the past, and something you may be unfamiliar with. It is actually a common approach, but I understand that it is unfamiliar for this school. Often we'll hear from parents that they believe single year level classes are better. And some of those reasons, are as follows. It's a traditional model at Flagstaff Hill Primary School. That's what we've always done, so we want to continue doing that. Administratively, it's actually easier for us as a school to manage, but we don't always base our decisions on what's easiest. At this school, they've at times been inequitable due to cohort size. And what I mean by that, if you happen to be a student in, say, year 2, and that cohort is really small, then every class and every year level where you're in that cohort, you are in a small class. So the following year is year 3s, year 4s, year 5s, and so on. If you're in a larger cohort, then every year that you're at school, you're in a large class. So there is no equity in terms of that. It's financially unsustainable for us to continue on a straight year level model. As I explained, we've done that for this year. We've purchased an extra 3 classes or 3 teachers, and that's cost the school about $420,000 that we've had to take out of our money to ensure that we can continue with straight year levels. On the flip side of that, of course, we haven't been able to do some of those things that I've already mentioned. It also creates very small teaching teams. So teaching teams of about 3 teachers, and part of our external school review report does indicate that teachers are asking to have more, representation within their teaching teams. And the way we get that representation and collaboration and moving forward and improving our teaching is through creating slightly bigger teams. A composite class model will allow us to do that. For example, instead of having 3 teachers in year 1 and 3 teachers in a year 2 team, we can have 6 teachers in a 1-2 team learning from each other and improving their practice together. And the cohort size determines the class size, as I said, in that model. There's no flexibility in that. Okay, so not only is it inequitable, it's inflexible. We go to, I've got one more point. It's consistent, single year levels classes consist of students with a wide range of educational, academic, social, emotional and wellbeing needs. That already exists in single year level classes. Not everybody is working at the same year level or is able to work at the same year level. Move on to composite classes where we've got 2 year levels. It's a common model across many schools. In fact, most schools would have some level of composite classes, if not all of their classes. It's more equitable in size. It's financially sustainable for us. It creates teaching teams of 4 to 6, a proven way for schools to increase the student learning by creating a culture that is focused on continuous improvement by linking the learning needs of students with the professional learning and practice of teachers. That's a really critical point. We know evidence tells us, research tells us that the biggest difference in student outcome is the quality of the teacher. So us investing time and money into improving our teachers will have better outcomes for students in the long run. Will consist of students with a wide range of educational, academic, social, emotional and wellbeing needs, just like single year level classrooms. It also reflects other mixed age societal norms, such as sporting teams and community groups. Schools are sometimes the only place where we categorise students into a year level. Often in sporting teams, they're under 10s or under 12s or under 14s. So there'll be a range of ages in those groups of students or groups of children who play sport together. So this isn't very unusual to see in other aspects of community, students working with each other. What the research says, I'll let you read that yourself there as I've got it on the screen, but often parents will ask whether their child will be disadvantaged being in a composite class. Will they fall behind? It's the most common fear for parents having a child in a composite class is that they'll fall behind. Teachers' attention will be split between 2 years and they'll get less overall learning time with their teacher. The research, however, doesn't agree with that. Multiple studies conclude it makes no difference to performance whether students are in a straight year group or in a multi-age class. Experts agree the most important factor in determining how well a student does is the quality of the teacher and their teaching. Additionally, it seems composite classes can actually enhance development, students becoming more confident and assertive and learning to operate as part of a wider group. Older students get the opportunity to be mentors and show their leadership skills. Younger students get to learn from role models who have already been in their situation. So there are lots of benefits to being in a composite class. The collective teacher efficacy has the potential to be the greatest contributing factor to student achievement. It's a quote from educational professor John Hattie, who has done many studies on other people's studies around what makes a difference in classrooms. For us going to composite classes next year, it's going to give us that opportunity to build really strong teaching teams, to invest in our teachers in terms of their professional practice. It's going to allow us to create learning spaces that are inspiring, that are well considered. It's going to allow us to start developing STEM facilities and changing and improving some of our infrastructure. As you would know, things like our toilets, which we're hoping to be upgraded soon, while we've got some grant money for that, we have to put in money from our school, our own money, to ensure that's done. And so those projects that have been long awaited in terms of upgrade mean we'll be able to do those in the future. I know this information isn't going to be well received by some parents, and the reality is we have to make decisions that are financially sustainable for this school and ensure that we're in a strong place moving forward. No student will be disadvantaged next year by not being in a class where that is their entitlement. I think based on our numbers at this stage, we're entitled to 20 classes next year. We're actually looking at probably having 21 just because of where our numbers fall. So there already be that extra money being spent on one class. If we went to a straight year level class model, we would have to be buying again another 3 or 4 teachers in excess of $400,000, and we actually don't have the budget for that. So I'm hoping this information is helpful to you. I understand that perhaps it's not what you want to hear, but it is well considered. It has been every aspect has been taken into consideration in terms of moving forward next year. And we've consulted widely with the people who have the best advice on this. And those people are our financial consultants and our HR staffing consultants. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I will try and keep you updated in terms of progress about where we're heading for next year as much as I possibly can. We're in the process at the moment. Our state is in the process at the moment of beginning the staffing structures for next year, and I'm hoping that I can give you some information about that next term. Thank you for listening, and please drop me an email if you want to know any more. Bye.